Welcome to Heart of the Matter podcast. What if y'all can hear that music? I just thought I'll put some music on because most of my audio viewers or listeners, they get to hear some type of music. So hopefully y'all can hear that. Okay. Enough of my shenanigans. Well, welcome back to Heart of the Matter podcast. We're out of the issues of your heart. We're out of the matters of your heart flow from the issues of your heart. I'm sorry. The issues of your heart, the matters of your heart flow. Listen, y'all, what? I just recorded this whole thing. Anyways, hey, Sherry girl, if you here, drop your name. Let me know or say hi, wave, because I'm about to be acting up here, fool on here. No, I'm playing. But I am about to be just silly, okay? But welcome again to Heart of the Matter podcast. This is our 4th episode, and I'm so excited that you guys joined in. I'm so excited that you're here. We have a good topic to talk about and just kind of get some insight on. Okay, enough of that music. So we have a really good topic. I'm actually wanted to touch base on the Jeremy Brown untimely death. And the reason why I'm actually saying it's an untimely or unfortunate death, because death is, we know we all have to die one day, but untimely at 32, I think, or 33 is very untimely. We shouldn't be dying that early. And it's unfortunate that he did die. I understand why he died, and I'm not like on his side, but I'm gonna play a devil's advocate, I guess, and in this episode, just to kind of give some insight to the listeners and everybody who's here, because we have to understand that. I mean, he played a part in this right scenario, and I think both of them did. We can't just blame him. I do believe that for his reaction, he got a consequence, which was his death. And I'm sure he probably didn't think that was going to happen, but it did. Right. So it's very unfortunate that it happened that way, but it could have been avoided. And I have a few topics or ideas I'm going to present to you as to why I think it could have been avoided, or it should have been avoided. And it could have been where the young man didn't have to kill someone as a 14-year-old kid. And the mom, didn't have to get, pulverized like that. That was just wrong. So on June 26th is when this occurred. And okay, so my first out of my 3 topics, right, is women need coverings. And I know we've heard that. And it's also the reason why women need husbands. Because women can't cover themselves. This is why, and y'all know I'm gonna go Bible on y'all. This is why the Bible talks about covering and the husband being the provider and protector, right? And he also saves the woman, right? Her body, because she doesn't have to go and lust with other men because she has a husband. That's not what I'm talking about. But I just wanted to give you an example of what it is. So I believe this situation here could have been de-escalated if this woman had a husband. I'm not blaming her. I know you're going to think that. I'm not blaming Mrs. Hood, right, for not having a man or a husband. But as I looked at this scenario, right, think about this. When you go somewhere and like take white women, right? This is what they do all the time, right? They in trouble or something, or they did something, right? What's the first thing they say? Oh, I'm about to call my husband. Don't worry about it. They ain't even gonna talk to you no more, right? They're gonna call their husband. And at that point, the conversation's over. You're waiting for the husband to get there. Remember Medea? Remember the show? I think it was, I don't know if she went to jail. I think it was the one she went to jail. And she was like, call the popo. She had that old school. And she was driving. Remember, she took the lady parking space for some crazy stuff. And remember how the lady was like, of course she was a white lady, no offense to my white sisters and brothers, but she was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to call my husband. And he was like the sheriff of town, or he was something like a high profile guy or whatever. But you see what she did, right? She didn't argue with Medea. Like, she had a few words, but she's like, I'm going to call my husband. And he got there, and of course Medea went to jail or whatever. But The point I'm trying to make here is that listen, women, we need coverings, right? I understand that you may think it's okay to be independent and single, and it is. Some people are called to a single life, and that's called by God and set up by God because most men and women have attractions to one another. So if you are single and you're happy and content, then that's fine. That may be your calling, but most of the time that's not the case. And we have to recognize that we need each other. Men need women, women need men. And this is one of the cases where had Miss Hood had a husband or a man in her life, she could have picked up the phone and said, "You know what? I'm not even arguing with you anymore. Let me call my husband." Right? Y'all heard that TikTok where y'all gonna keep saying my husband this, right? That's one of those instances where she could have said my husband. And if she would have said that, I believe that he would have backed down and been like, "Oh, it's a man involved," right? Because they said that he already had some domestic violence cases already out there, and because he had those cases, that leads me to believe that he's of course an abuser of women, but most abusers of women, they don't hit men or they're scared to fight a real man. So, if she had called her husband, he would have to me backed off. That's just my analogy of things. Um, I'm going to bring my guest on in just a moment, and he's going to help analyze this a little bit more. But if y'all got a comment, y'all can drop it and let me know what y'all think. Am I making sense to y'all? Like, does this make sense of what I'm saying? It may be foreign because I know a lot of times we wasn't taught a lot of this stuff, and it didn't make sense. Some stuff didn't make sense till I got older too. But this is why I say women need coverings because I believe, like I said, if she had a said, "I'm going to call my husband," this would have de-escalated. I also believe if the community would have stood up because the person who was recording, which I believe they said was the girlfriend, she was recording, and I guess they were saying she was like egging the situation on. Had she stood up instead of egging it on, saying, "Come on, babe, let's stop. Don't do this." I believe that would de-escalate it as well. And of course, if he was beating her, anything she said probably wouldn't make no sense anyway. However, I do believe if there was other men in the restaurant, if there was somebody behind the glass that was there to de-escalate the situation, I believe that this wouldn't have happened either. So the whole point is we are as a community have to stand up for right. We don't stand up enough. A lot of times we're fearful and we are scared to stand up because I know the world's bad and wicked and we have these kids out here running around with guns and killing everybody, and that's only because we let them. We tolerated it and we allowed them to get this bad. Had we not tolerated it, it wouldn't have gotten this bad. But because we are here, now we have to stand up more, right? Because as a community, I blame everybody who's there as well, who was in that restaurant. Because once you seen that man like going back, taking his hand back to like hit a woman, I think any man that was in that restaurant should have stood up and said, "No, not on my watch. You're not gonna do this. You're not gonna hit this woman." You know what I'm saying? And I wholeheartedly believe that if they had a said that, someone had a said that, especially a man had a stood up, that he would have stopped, right? Because again, I think he may have had some mental health issues. He's an abuser. So again, he's used to hitting on women, probably hasn't ever went to jail for it. So again, I believe if he would have got an actual sensible man to say something, that would de-escalate the situation. What do you guys think? I need some comments. Can y'all hear me? Because y'all quiet on here. Sherry, what you think? Okay. I ain't got no comments yet, but I'm gonna continue on. So well, those are my main 2 points, right? And I also want you guys to look at it this way. If the young man, right? So we know the judge threw this out. The judge threw or whoever they went before, they didn't get charged with murder. So because now she's actually um, suing Chicago police because I guess, and I'm not a lawyer, I guess the right protocol is to first, I guess they shouldn't have took her to jail. I'm not a lawyer, so I think they shouldn't have taken her and her son to jail. They should probably just questioned her, called her in for questioning, and then should have, I guess, arrested her or whatever if they had probable cause. I think. Not sure if that's the correct way it should go. But so now she's suing the Chicago Police Department. So yes. So okay, I have a comment from Aaron Goodman. Okay, he said, I understand your standpoint, but I'm a believer that that was supposed to happen. The wages of our sins, and that was his final deposit. I believe that too. I the wages of your sins is death, right? However, it's people doing other things too that haven't died, right? Everybody's sinning and they still haven't died yet. But I do believe there's consequences, like you said, for what you do. There's consequences for you can't just go in doing all kinds of crazy stuff and don't expect those consequences, right? I understand that. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe the 14-year-old should have done what he had to do. I hate that he had to because he's 14. And my point here is that the 14-year-old shouldn't have to stand up for his mom. You know what I'm saying? It's in a young boy's or man's nature to stand up for his mother. That's like nature, right? And so because it's nature, that's what they're going to do. However, should he have to do it? I don't believe so. No, I know he shouldn't have to do it. He should not have to stand up for his mom because that's her husband's responsibility. That's her man's responsibility. So if you continue to allow your son to play the role as your man, this is what happens. Because say for instance, they would have stayed in jail, or they got a different judge that said, nope, y'all going to jail for life. You shouldn't have shot him. I don't care. You should, what I'm saying? The justice system is not fair to us. So again, if he had have gotten the wrong judge, by the grace of God, he didn't. This young man's life would have been gone for life. 14. The mom's too. And she has a daughter, I believe that's 8 years old. So again, that's another child without a mother or father, maybe. So that's my point. And I get it. There's consequences for you doing wrong. It is. Sometimes they're more severe than others. However, we also got to look at the flip side, which I'm trying to want us to look at, because I know we've looked at that side as far as, yeah, he got what he deserved. And I believe he got what he deserved as well. But I'm also looking at the other side as, why did her son have to stand up for her? Why didn't she call her man, her husband? Because I'm sure she's, and I'm not being offensive, I'm sure she's sleeping with one, right? Maybe she's not. But my whole take is that, listen, if you can be with somebody and they can't help protect you, that's the whole point of having a husband, or, that's the whole point. Hey Tony, I see you said that's what I've been saying. Oh, you've been saying that too? Okay. You said it's our job to protect our kids, not them protecting us. Amen. I wish I can love that here. Hold on, wait. Let me see if I can do something, because I want to. Oh, shoot. Oh, hold on, wait. I can do it. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Okay, y'all heard that? I got to give Tony an applause for that, because honestly, he's right. It's our job to protect our children. It's the husband, it's the father's job to protect their children, not the children protecting the mom. That's backwards. This kid is 14 years old. He should not be having to go get a gun. And I know he in Chicago. We know it's bad there. We know it's horrible, right, in Chicago, because that's why they carrying a gun even to Coney Island or wherever they was at. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that is not his place. So he's already out of place. I've never killed anybody, murdered. I've never done that. But I hear that when you do it, you're not just going to have a free conscience, right? You're not just going to walk away and say, yep, I did it and I'm happy. Unless your conscience is seared. We know that scriptural. You can sin and do things so bad and get so far from God that he turns you over to a different mindset, and he allows you just to do what you want. However, I don't believe this young boy had that. He was a good student from what I saw. He was, he just graduated from honors, from middle school with honors. He was going to high school, and it looks like he had a bright future. He still does have he still does have a bright future. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that this shouldn't have been his course, right? It shouldn't have been his responsibility. Aaron, you said her husband or man would have altered the same results. Okay, so are you saying that her husband or man would have done the same thing, or the results would have been altered had she had a husband or man? I just need you to clarify that for me. Okay, Tony, thank you. Yes, he said he just shared this. People need to hear this. They do. And if you are listening, and if I'm saying something that, even if you don't agree, share this. Share, because somebody needs to hear it, even if you don't want to hear it. It's the truth. So Aaron said they would have shot him as well. Okay, I get that. I prefer a husband or man to shoot him versus a 14-year-old. Honestly, I do. And I'm not saying it's right either way, but the husband's job is to protect. So I prefer that him do that. Like I said, he would have felt better about it. I would have felt better like, okay, well, my man stuck up for me, so whatever, versus my son carrying that burden. Because if anybody, I ain't trying to get y'all telling yourself, but if you've ever done something like that, you know that it's still a burden that you have to carry unless, go to God and, all that good stuff. But it's a burden. Killing someone, come on, you probably can't sleep at night. And for a 14-year-old boy, even though he did the right thing, I can only imagine how he feels, you know? So I have a guest, not my guest, my honorary host, Ken. He's gonna go join. Let's see how he's doing with his live. Let's see. Hey Ken, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay. I'm being silly. What's up?
Nothing much. Hey, how you doing?
All right, y'all. I'm welcoming my guest to you guys. He's back for a second episode with me. So I want him to join in and give us some input. So far we've discussed two different outcomes. So, some people are saying that of course, he did get what he deserved, Jeremy Brown, his death. He got what he deserved because he was wrong. And then I'm also saying I'm playing the devil's advocate that basically had she had a husband, these results would have been altered, like Aaron said. But I believe that it could have been de-escalated had she had a man. What is your take on this whole situation?
Yeah, she needed a man, and from what it looked like they were out kind of late, and it wasn't the best neighborhood, so they really probably shouldn't have been out there anyway. If she had a man or a husband at home, he could have been able to go out and get the food and not have to worry about sending them out late in the night like that, where all the people were out probably a little inebriated, things happening, things being said, the riffraff and all that. They wouldn't have to be worrying about that. He would have been out there doing that.
Right. That makes so much sense that you pointed out the neighborhood, right? They probably was in a bad neighborhood. Also
Hmm.
was at night, right?
Yep,
And then if you got a man, most your husband gonna be like, "Why are you going out to get food this late? Stay in the house."
exactly.
If we need something to eat, I go grab it. So that makes sense too. This is the whole point of having a covering, which is so important. We don't think it is. We think it's okay to be single, and it's not. I'm saying it's not bad to be single, right? If you're doing the right thing or that's your calling, that's fine. But to push this independent female stuff, we got to stop. We got to stop because we're making our sons our husbands. What do you think about that, Ken?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of son husbands out here. A lot of them.
My kings.
Yeah, and then they get older, and then they looking for a mother in the women they date.
Right. Yep. Oh, that's so true. Yeah, or they become mama's boys and they can't
Hmm.
like be with their woman because they're like they love their mama. And not saying don't love your mama because my sons better love me, but you got to know the difference. Differentiate between the two.
Hmm.
And so Aaron said, even if her husband or man would have been there, right, or came, whatever, the same results would have happened, meaning they would have shot him
Yeah,
regardless.
yeah, probably, or maybe not even shot her. He wouldn't have done it if a male presence was there, an older male, a male around his age or a little older than him. He wouldn't have swung on that lady like that.
I believe so too.
He
That's
would have,
what I thought.
he would have had to answer to that man. He might not even say nothing to the lady at all if he saw the man present, because there was no man present. Is why he felt that he could do that. So it wouldn't happen the same. Unless he was
That's
just
true.
crazy. But then even at that, another grown man being present means you don't necessarily have to shoot this man. You can tussle with him a little bit. You can fight him off a little bit, and nobody got to die.
Right. And then he didn't have a gun because if
Yeah,
he,
he didn't have a
he
weapon.
didn't, you can see he didn't have a gun because that's
Mhm.
the first thing most people gonna reach for. They're not gonna use their fists, especially as crazy as he looked. He would have been trying to shoot. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't have a gun from what I saw.
Yeah,
Meaning, if a man did step to him, he would have most likely backed down,
he would back
or I
down,
mean, he probably
calm
could have
down.
wanted to fight the guy. But again, that's it's made more for that situation. Two
Mhm.
men fighting, that's a little different.
Yeah, and that's less traumatic on the son.
Right. Yeah.
Seeing your
Because
father beat some guy up versus seeing having to kill a guy yourself is totally different. You know, a lot.
right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, I can only imagine how this 14-year-old boy feels. I know he's a hero and all over everybody's like, yes, he did
Mhm.
what right, and I get it, but that was not his place to have to do what was right. He
Yeah,
shouldn't have had to be put in that position
that was
to do what's
unfortunate.
right. Okay, so let's see what Tony said. Some women be saying they don't need a man until it's time for them to do some man stuff, then they start using their son.
That's true too. That's what happened. Probably. I'm not. Matter of fact, I won't even say probably. I'll say that that could be what happened. I just seeing a little snippet of the son and the mother's relationship that I have seen. It seems likely that that's that kind of relationship. It's like, well, I got you, son.
Yeah,
I don't need no man really because I got you. We got each other. It seems like that kind of energy. I could be wrong, but
it did.
um, I mean,
Oh, it did. It
he's
did
doing
seem
good with the son though. He's a honor student and all that, from what I understand.
like
So she
right.
does good. She does a good job with him, in that regard. But that still was a lot for him to take on. He's gonna have to go to therapy for that, and he's gonna carry that for the rest of his life. You know,
Yes. That's what Tony said. Now he's gonna suffer from mental health issues.
definitely,
Exactly.
definitely gonna have mental health issues for sure. Definitely.
Like your brain doesn't have the capacity to take on that type of stuff at 14. Like like adults, we got problems with, you think a 14-year-old can manage that? And now again, he has to go to high school. Everybody knows about it. That's gonna change his life. He probably can't go to the high school. Maybe he can, but who wants to be known for doing that?
Well, yeah, if he's looked at in a good light, it's a better thing because it's like, okay, you protected your mom, you
Right.
defended your mom. Now, if you
Yes.
just would have shot somebody out here, then that's a little different. You know what I'm saying? But he was protecting his mother, which is I guess in that situation, if a man is doing that to your mother and you're there, I guess that kind of is how it got to go, especially being
Yeah.
14 years old versus a grown man.
Yeah.
Some 14-year-olds will try to tussle with the man or whatever, and some just go, hey, we got to do it that way. It's unfortunate. It's just really unfortunate. But what I will say is the guy had it coming. I read a little bit about him too. He has a history of abusing women. That's
Yeah.
just what he does.
Yeah.
He's just like,
That's what I
he's
read
that
as well.
type. So he had that coming. He had it coming.
So you kind of feel that his death was actually necessary, right?
I didn't feel like it's necessary, but I it was probably inevitable.
Right.
It was probably just his time because he'd been doing it for a while. Like I saw a post about the guy who people that knew him and several women on the post talking about, yeah, that's just what he does. He hits women. He's this. He does this. He was just basically like it was a bad dude. It was a bad thing.
Yeah.
It
So
was more
that's
than one woman on the post saying it too. So it was like, wow, okay, so this is just what the guy does. Unfortunately, Um, now I death is extreme,
mm,
but the only alternative to you constantly putting your hands on a woman is going to jail. You're not
that's
going to get away with that for a really long time. You're going to come across a woman eventually who has someone who's willing to defend her. And what happened that other night, a couple weeks ago, is that the little boy had to defend his mother.
yeah.
But you know, later on down the line, it might have been a woman who had a brother
Right.
or who had a father that
Or he
didn't
should have been in jail because I don't understand if all these women talking about he's beating on them, why he ain't in jail yet? Nobody's
women
special
don't tell on me
charges.
that beat them.
Right. They
They
go
will
and go to
not tell on
court
me that beat
and
them. They
never
don't
follow through.
for whatever
Exactly.
reason. They don't tell them.
Exactly.
I don't know if it's fear or some kind of
Oh, they love him.
toxic bonding or whatever, trauma bonding type deal. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it's some kind of weird energy with that, but because a lot of women don't tell on men or don't turn men in who beat on them.
And look at the consequence now. I know they wish they would have because they like, dang, he did. Nah, I should have just got him locked up. But now this is the consequence.
But
I
the
see
thing is,
Aaron
how long you gonna go away for?
long enough
You
to get
touch
his
a
money.
woman a couple times, you might go away 6 months, sometimes maybe a year. When he get back out, they probably worried about him retaliating. Like, okay, I put him away, and once he gets out, he's gonna come back for me and want to deal with me because I'm the reason why he had to go
They
away
scared.
for a
They
while.
know he's scared. He hit no women. But no, I want to go to this comment. Aaron said, he said, but as men, someone should have stopped it because it was men in that spot. Okay, so that answered my question. Too many people recording instead of stopping stuff. So thank you, Aaron, because I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really want to see it, but I thought it was people in there. And that was one of my resolutions.
There
It's
were
like
people in there.
the community got to stop. If a man that was older or just any type of man would have stood up to him, it wouldn't have escalated. Everybody in there recording
I
instead of
saw that.
saying, "Stop, stand up, y'all be these men." And I ain't trying to be offensive, but they are cowards. I'm not lying. They fearful, and then maybe it ain't they cowards. They just, um, maybe I don't know. They just don't want to stand up. But I hate that the society don't want to stand up for what's right. They see stuff going on and pull your phone out. Which because you wanna go
Yeah,
viral? What are you getting
yeah.
out of
From
that?
what I understand, it was a woman that pulled her phones out. The women, the men actually, unfortunately, they ran out.
That's what I'm
They
saying,
ran
it's
out of there. I saw a couple
cowards.
men run out.
Why would
Um,
you run out? And he man, like, it's bad. It's bad when men start to run out from stuff and you supposed to be a protector. Because I know you got a woman at home. If that was your sister,
but
your
listen to
mama.
this though. You got to look at it this way too. Sis. You you got a man in there that's acting crazy. His woman is egging him on to do it. Um, he's punching and beating on the woman and all that or whatever. If you intervene and one of them has a weapon and you get killed, you got a family at home. How's your wife and your family going to feel about you getting killed to defend a woman in the street? Now, women might be like, "Oh, it was commendable," but that woman at home, that her whose husband is not coming back, or whose boyfriend or whoever is not coming back home, she's not going to feel that way. She might say it on social media, like, "Yeah, it was cool what he did," but in deep down inside, she's gonna be like, "I lost my husband to him trying to defend some chick in the street."
Right. Okay, well, I didn't look at it that way, but I mean, but it was clear that he didn't have a weapon. You seen both
No,
his
but
hands.
maybe his woman had one in her
It was
purse,
clear she
or
didn't either.
maybe he had one in his back pocket or something. You just don't know in those situations because it's unfortunate. The neighborhood, the setting, the time of day, you just don't
Chicago.
know what's really going on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it
Sometimes
looks
you'll
like
see a tussle. A tussle will last 30 seconds, 45 seconds, or whatever. Then somebody will pull something out. It's like, oh, I didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? So
I think he approached it the both of them like, "Ma'am, can you just please, sir, like, come on, let's stop. Let's not take it." You know what I'm saying? I think it's all in the approach. There been a man who could stand up and come and approach and say, "Hey, y'all, let's stop this in the right way." I think it would have de-escalated it. I do because, like I said, he's only hitting on women, meaning he's
I
not going
agree.
to stand up to a man.
I agree. A stern man could have de-escalated that without much else happening.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I guess Aaron. He on here. He would have stepped up because he that was his comment. So I know.
Another thing too that a lot of people don't want to probably they don't look at, if that man did that to that lady and she was more of a humble, quiet type, she would have been defended. Much more
Right.
likely to have been defended. The fact
Right.
that she kind of bucked up with the man
Yeah. They
when
probably
he
like, you
started
get what you
talking to
get.
her, they like, hey, well, you got it. You strong. You strong and
Right.
independent. You got this. Go ahead. But if that woman would have been like, why are you doing this to me? Or, I don't understand or something, she would have kind of went in a more damsel in distress type of energy. A man might
Hold on,
likely.
hold on. Hold on, Ken. Sorry to interrupt. So I want to know, fellas on here. So if that woman had have been more like, "Oh, please stop. I'm just trying to get my food. I don't mean any harm." Or if she would have been like, "Nigga, you better get out my face. I don't care." Like which one? So if she was more like less aggressive, would you guys have like would have you I mean, would you have defended her? Or, either way it wouldn't matter. I want y'all to take. I want to hear what these fellas got if they agree with you or not. Okay, Tony said he agree. Okay, I see. Aaron said facts. That was on my last comment. Okay, so that I guess that makes sense, bro. So it seems like I guess the fact that the woman, her attitude as well, played a part in the outcome. Because had
Yeah,
she been more humble,
if she would have been more of a, oh my God, I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't mean any. A guy would have been like, bro, watch out. You know what I'm saying? But
right,
since she was like, what? I said, and then you're like, oh yeah, she got it. Don't worry about it. She got it.
right, like she's strong, strong
Yeah.
black man. She's a strong black man. She got it. She don't need my help. That's too funny. Now we gotta stop doing that. I see. Okay, so let me go. Ashley, she said, oh no, Ramona said he hit the wrong one that day. That was for sure. Ashley said that was an old man that they know not to get in the way of young black people as well. I mean, I get that, but it's like the old men need to be leading the young men. So if you too scared, it's some old men that ain't scared of these young men, and you can't afford to be scared of these young men, honestly, because like you gonna lose your life being scared. But I get what you're saying, Ash. Is like they like, shoot, I'm too old for this, so they be like, they trying to run theyself. And Aaron said depends on after the first punch, but dog was throwing haymakers. He said he wasn't about to step in the ring. You wasn't gonna step in the ring with him? Like, man, them
Dude
punches.
was kind of frail. He could have got laid out.
It's like he was reaching that far with that much power for a woman. What's wrong with you, man?
He was trying to. He told her he was gonna knock her out, so he was trying to knock her
It's
out. He
like,
really
say
didn't
one more
want to do that.
thing. One more thing. He turned to Credible Hulk. Say one more thing. So that's what I'm saying. What if she would have been quiet? Then he probably wouldn't have done it because he kept saying, "Nah, I ain't saying he
If you don't
right."
be quiet, if you don't be
Right.
quiet, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. If you don't just that, that's
Right.
what it was. I mean, not saying it's okay or it's justified that him doing it, no matter what the woman was doing, but there is a way that you can de-escalate things. You
Right.
know, especially as a woman. You can de-escalate things. If, even a guy being quiet with another guy, a dude to be like, all right, it just calms people down when you just be quiet. You know what I'm saying? But her going back and forth with him riled him up. Then his girl was over there riling him up too.
Right.
She
Egging him on.
you can't argue and do all that by yourself. The lady should have kind of just been quiet because you know what I'm saying. It really didn't have to end like that.
I
But
think
I
the
mean,
girl should be charged. His one, like for real, like honestly, she should be
she
charged
should
with
have been
his
charged
murder,
her too. She
with
should
his
have been
death.
charged for some
He's
kind of
responsible.
inciting some kind of whatever. She should have been some
Should
whatever charge that is. She should have been brought up on the charge for sure.
yeah, because why would you be egging something on like that? You stupid. So she
But
should be
he
charged as
probably wouldn't
well.
even done all that to that lady if his girl wouldn't have been saying all that and doing all that. He
No, he
probably
wouldn't have, because he like, I gotta do something. Nah,
yeah.
my
His
baby
baby
needs
talking
me
about
up.
yeah, baby, this and that. Yeah, he like oh man, I got to show out now.
Stupid, stupid.
Yeah, just silly.
Ashley said, these young men are disrespectful for sure. They very disrespectful, but guess what? Give them something to respect you over. I mean, if you don't require respect, they're not going to respect you. But if you let them know, like, listen, I require my respect, you think you bad, I'm bad too. Like, for real.
You. That's the thing. They being disrespectful. You got to understand when to hold them and when to fold them. When you got this guy being rah rah crazy and all that in there, and he probably drunk or whatever else, and you a woman standing up in there, you probably want to just be cool.
Yeah.
You probably just want to be cool. Now she was fortunate that her son could come defend her, but if she would have been by herself, she would
He
have
would
just
have
been
killed
laid
her,
out
I
in there.
think. Yeah, I think he would have beat her so bad.
Yeah, she would have just been laid out in there. So
Tony said, well, Aaron first said, "Oh no, I would have scrapped with dog," and then Ashley said, "It starts at home. It does, and that's why I'm saying if you don't get it at home, you might have to get it in the streets, but you're
dude
gonna
ain't
get
had no
somewhere."
daddy. Dude, I promise a dude ain't had no daddy. He ain't
Yeah,
had no father figure, nothing. He
no,
probably was raised by all women. He ain't had no dudes nowhere. No male influence nowhere. You can tell. None. Zero.
yeah. And Tony
Zero.
said, the woman had a lot of masculine energy,
She
which she
did.
said,
That's probably what did it. But we can't. I don't want to blame the woman. I don't want to seem like we're blaming the woman.
we're not
But
blaming her
her
at all.
energy being otherwise could have de-escalated that before it went that far. But like I said, we're not gonna blame the woman because my man got a history of putting hands on women, so he got what he had coming. But that could have been de-escalated. It could have went differently if she just would have been calm about it and been
Right,
like, whatever. I'm not gonna do all this with this dude. I mean, because the
right.
thing is, you're not gonna whoop him. So I mean, come on,
Not gonna
you're
whoop
not
no
gonna whoop him.
man,
So just be cool.
regardless.
Yeah,
Right. You can try, but it's not gonna work. I mean,
right.
it's just the way God made it. Men just stronger.
Yeah, you're not
Women
gonna
just,
whoop him. So you might as
weaker.
well just be cool.
Yeah. So Ramona said his girl was glad it wasn't her this time. That's
Yeah, pretty
terrible.
much. Yeah,
I'm just
she's
glad
glad
it
it
ain't
wasn't
me.
her
Girl,
this
you
time.
get him. Go ahead, get him. Get
Yeah,
her. 'Cause it
get
ain't me.
somebody else for a change.
Oh,
Yeah, hit
that's
her.
so
So,
sad.
so I ain't gotta hit you. You put your hands on a woman for the day. I ain't gotta be her. So you got your woman out the way today. So it ain't me. Good. You got her instead of me.
Right. I see.
Crazy.
Okay. Ashley said, I blame these parents, not teaching their children to respect older people. That's right. But however, like that's what I've been doing about the fatherless generation. This is what we got. We got to understand that a lot of these children are orphans, and we're called to help these orphans and teach them because they didn't get it. They didn't have both of their parents. And sometimes if they got that one parent, they're not getting everything because they just trying to work to make ends meet. So, but I do understand a lot of the blame just fall on the mom and dad. You made these kids. Tony, you said we're not blaming here and you want to come on. Okay, so I can get you as a guest
Yeah,
because
yeah. No, no blaming. We're not blaming nobody. We're
I would
not
have
blaming.
to send like let me see if
It
I
was
can
it
do
was
it.
it was the dude that Jeremy Brown and his lady. That's the problem. They were the problem, really.
I hope y'all can
But
see me. Did my screen go black? Hold on, bro.
no, your screen not black. I can see it.
I'm trying to send this to oh, I gotta log in. Is my y'all can see me still?
Yeah, yeah, I can see.
I'm gonna see if I can send it to you because he want to come on, but I don't know if I could do it on here. Usually I send an email to the person who's coming on. Let me see. He got something he gotta say.
Okay.
And
That's, y'all want me to? You want me to get off?
no, you can stay on. It could be more than one person.
Hold on.
So okay, Tony, see if you can get that link. I seen you say it more than one time. That's why I was like, okay, let me see. Nope, I don't need your email. I tried to send you a link in your inbox. See if you can get that link. I'm trying to get off here because we already at 35 minutes. Normally I try to say it no more than 30, but since this topic was juicy. Now why is this? So check your messenger, Tony. And if you want to be a part of the show or come on, you can DM me. My email is heart of the matter podcast 92 at gmail.com. You can send an email. If you want to promote something, I can promote it for you as well. Like, just let me know. But yeah, back to the topic. I'm waiting on Tony if he can get in. So Ashley, you being messy tomorrow. I'm blaming. Yeah, I get it. I'm blaming too. But like I said, this is why I'm trying to do this podcast because where we get to discuss like the social epidemics that are hurting our communities. But if a person doesn't grow up with both parents, it's going to be harder for them in society because they didn't get both sides. Not saying single mothers can't raise successful like young boys
That
and things like
that
that.
boy, he don't have no respect for nobody. My man probably didn't even have a decent mother, or if he
Yeah,
has a mother, he don't respect her at all because usually when boys love their mothers, they don't beat on women.
right. Because they know, like, I would never do that to my mom. That
Yeah,
makes
you
sense.
you 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 love your mom. You got a good relationship with your mom. You don't be out here just beating on women like that. Usually,
Yes.
So he probably doesn't have a good relationship with his mom, and he don't got no male influence at all in his life. So he just out here jacked up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I
And
say
something
it's so
happened,
important.
whatever happened with his mother, that got him like this or whatever, it is bad because he don't have respect or any kind of regard for women at all, and he just beating them up. So that goes back to how he feel about his mom.
Yeah. He probably, yeah, like his mom probably wasn't there, or, maybe she abandoned him or something, and he just takes it out on every woman he's with.
Yeah, or
It's
she
so
she she
unfortunate.
might have been aggressive with him in some kind of way,
Yeah.
and he can't beat on her, so he beat on other women or something. Because
It's deep.
neglect, I don't think neglect gonna have you lashing out and beating on women like that. I think neglect is gonna really have you more like looking for love or looking for a more nurturing type of woman, maybe.
Yeah, that
You
makes
might
sense.
be clingy or something. I don't think neglect will cause you to be violent. I could be wrong, but
We're not therapists. We're not therapists. All we're doing
right,
is
right.
opinion on things that, we know or think we know. So Tony, he hasn't logged in or got the link. I don't know. So what if you're still on here? You can definitely come on as a guest if you like. Just send me a DM.
You gotta click the link, right?
Yeah, click the link and he'll show up and I'll walk you through it. So, but that's all we have for Heart of the Matter podcast. We can go on and on about the topic. I did want to be a little controversial this time just because I want everybody to think out the box about had this situation could it went a different way. And I know it's definitely was an unfortunate and untimely death. No one should die at 32 or 33 years old. And so I want us to take away that when you see something, say something. When when things come up or you see something and especially, I mean, use wisdom, of course, don't just go walking into something, but use wisdom. But if you see something and you can approach a situation with wisdom, say something. You can de-escalate a situation. Don't just stand by and watch things happening. I use this on my audio podcast. I talked about how I know you guys seen the meme where everybody, like, somebody was drowning in the water and everybody had their phones out. They No one helped. They were looking at it, looking at everybody. Or, I'm sorry, looking at the person drown. Everybody else was just recording. And that was like this situation. There was something happening, everybody else was just looking, recording, or they, was out the door. And I just think it's unfortunate. We could have stopped this from happening, but we have to speak up. And again, the other takeaway is women need coverings. Women need husbands or men. Really, it's a husband. You need it because without having the proper covering, things like this happen. You don't have protection. Yes, God is protecting you. He is. But if God was just gonna meant for it to protect you, why would he say get a husband? Why would he say that's your covering? Because it's just not him protecting you, but he designed the man to be a protection in the physical realm as well, right? And that's what we need them for. Had she had that, I believe wholeheartedly this would have turned around. The man wouldn't have said anything to her, or he would have, it would have stopped as soon as she said, "Let me call my husband," because she would have stopped talking. She would have just stopped talking as well, and she would have called her husband, and he would have been on the way. And I think everything would de-escalated from there. So
Yeah, that's the role, one of the main roles of a husband. That's a big reason why women should have a husband,
mhm. Yep.
because look at that. If a man was involved, it would have never went that far left ever. It
Yes.
wouldn't even started really if you had a man in that situation, or a man with her, or the man leaving the family at home and going to get the food himself at night. It just could have been completely avoided if a man was
Yes.
present.
Yep, absolutely. And this was all revelation, Sometimes when I read things, God gives me revelation on things. And I know you guys may be saying, "Oh no, I agree. He should have got shot. He should have got killed. He was wrong." I agree he was wrong too, but a lot of times when I'm looking at things, God will give me the revelation on the other side to see, well, this is why if you follow my word here, if you follow this instruction, this wouldn't have happened, So it's just my take on everything as far as how I believe. And again, y'all, I know we all gotta work on that masculine energy and stop going off on these men like that. And I'm working on it too, because look, when I be getting in my modes too, like, it's hard to stop me. I'll be going and going and going, like, what? Until I get everything out that I want to say. Now it's your turn. But yeah, I'm not perfect either, and I am working on it as well. In this situation, had I seen that man, I probably wouldn't been saying nothing because he looked crazy. He looked, and then when I seen his hand go back, I've been like, "Oh, my lips are sealed." I'm not saying anything. But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go because we're over time. But again, I want everybody to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Heart of the Matter Podcast on YouTube. You'll see my logo. That way you can follow and keep up with it. If you want to just listen to the audio version, I am on all the podcast platforms. So Apple, Google, Spotify, and every other one as well. If you want to download it and just like work out and listen to it, because I already did record a version to upload there. So that way I could just be silly on this live and not have to upload it later. But hey Kenny, and Tony, I know you're trying to set it up, but we're about to go. We've been on here, we were over time. So set it up and get with me, let me know. Next week we're probably going to be talking about another, I seen a video of a mom just not allowing oh, hold on. Is this you, Tony? Jerome? Okay, this is him. Okay, y'all, give me a few more minutes. Don't leave because I'm gonna hear what he want to say. I'm about to add him. Hey,
Can
hey.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up?
Okay, what up? No, I just wanted to touch on like mental health and like I remember like when I was younger, my mother got into it with a few people in the neighborhood, and like one particular time she got into it with like because she was breaking up a fight, and one of the dudes that was fighting got into it with her, and I was actually like on punishment at the time, So when I heard she got into it with the guy, I'm like, oh shoot, I get to run to the door. She locked me in there. And I didn't understand why she was doing that at the time. And then when I got older and then had kids, I was like, oh, she was protecting me for doing something that will ultimately harm me. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to take up for your mother. And
Right.
you know what I'm saying? But I think, like, a lot of times, like, and I've been hearing what you've been saying for a while. And I'm like, man, you need to start preaching to people. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, like, your family is deep into religion. And I think right now, like a lot of people is misguided and they have kids. So that means like, what are you teaching your kids? Like if you don't know the right way to handle things, then your kids not gonna know the right way to handle things. And we always stand up for our mom, but it's like even like if I got my daughter, she 19 now, but even like when she was younger, like my whole thing is like to protect her. So even if somebody was being disrespectful to me or anything, you gotta let stuff go. Not saying this what happened with the case, but
Right.
what we seeing is she was going back and forth with the guy.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, like you don't supposed to put your hands on women at all.
At all.
That's a no. You know what I'm saying? But like
Definitely.
if the dude telling her like stop, I'm like, okay,
Yeah. Say one more thing to me. If you say something else, his phone kind of went out. I get what you're saying. I don't know if we lost him or not, but I understand what he's saying.
There you
Okay,
go. Be
you're
back.
back. Okay, you're back. Go ahead. Okay, I can't hear you. We can't hear you
His
still.
mic is off.
Oh
Did you mute him?
no, he's not muted.
Okay.
He muted himself, trying to figure it out. Oh, it says your mic isn't connected. So okay, well, yeah, it's not. Look, you got to come on another time now because it's not allowing you to unmute yourself. But I get what you're saying.
okay,
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, there we go.
okay, I can talk. Well,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You were saying
oh
hush.
yeah, yeah. So it was just like the dude was like, stop talking, and it was like she kept going on and on. But like, like when I went to therapy, it made me understand like a lot of like I grew up in a single parent household, and
Right.
it just made me understand like issues I had of feeling like the man of the house.
Mm.
And my mama protected me. She
Okay,
never
wait,
put me
wait,
in a
wait,
situation.
wait, wait. We're gonna do that as a topic, and I want you to come on as a guest. So don't
Okay,
get
okay,
too much. But go ahead.
okay, okay. I got you. But anyway, so yeah, that's why I'm just saying like it's our job to protect our kids, and like what I'm saying, even like um if I'm with women, like if I was in a restaurant, I would have kind of stepped in a little bit. But if
Right.
she was keep going on and on, then I'd have stepped back. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
That's
But
what
I'm
men
not
say.
like to let a woman just get beat up in front of me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But and that's what I think too is like as men, we got to do better. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on now, because you got to look at it like, what if it was your daughter, or if it was your wife? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, if she
Exactly.
keep running her mouth, then you like, okay, she got it. Like
Right.
what your bro said. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, just just keep doing what you're doing because it's a lot of people need to hear this because it's basically so much of like that that NIG mentality, and that's not getting us nowhere. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like,
We
come
gotta
on,
change
man.
our
At the end of the day, this kid got to live with taking a life.
mindset.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's a lot, and you don't know what's gonna come from that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what I said. He has to deal with that. We don't know what issues he's gonna have because I'm sure it's not easy knowing that that you did that. You're only 14. You can barely get. He's going through probably puberty and all, along with now I just murdered somebody. That's weird. So
I
definitely.
just went live on this topic like last week, and
Did
people, it
you?
was so many people. Yes, that's why I was like,
Oh wow.
oh wow, we
What was
agree
people saying?
because there
It
was
was
so
more
many
like,
people that disagreed with me. It was like, but he was standing up for his mom. Like, but it's not our job to protect
right.
parents. Like,
These
if your
boys.
husband or your boyfriend do it, he can, the father, he can live with that, and your
Yes.
job is to
Split up.
stop your kids from getting in certain situations.
Exactly. Not put them in those situations. Exactly.
Yeah.
And she was old enough to know not to do that. Now, if she was like maybe, you know what I'm saying, early 20s or something, that was her nephew or something, I could probably give her more of a pass. But being that older, that much older, you should know, like, nope. And especially in Chicago, you know, they shooting and killing everybody. You shouldn't want him to even be any type of parts of that, you know? So you should have done something different and like, okay, let me just be quiet. I'm about to walk away, you know?
Hmm.
So,
And if you're gonna have a gun on you, I know it's gun rules there, but you still can't hide the gun in the car because it's not a CCW state. So with her driving with the gun, it's still illegal.
oh,
So she
Yeah,
yeah.
the son even having a gun and shooting it was actually illegal. They
Oh.
gave them all a pass because of how it went down.
Right, because that's what I'm saying. And see, that's what I thought too. I'm like, I don't know too much about guns and laws. I only know here, but if that was illegal, then yeah, they should have probably gotten taken in because so they really don't have a case to sue
They
if
don't
that's
have a
if they
case to
use
sue.
that.
They running with it, but they don't really have a case to sue
Yeah,
nothing
well,
nobody.
yeah,
Not because they got off.
they
They
got
could
off.
have
I would
charged.
be
They
happy.
could they could have charged them with a couple different things, really,
Dang,
but they didn't because of the matter, at hand. But they could have. So that's what I was saying on my post the other day on Facebook. You gotta leave well enough alone. You trying to sue the same people that just, let you get
okay,
off, and they could have charged you with a few felonies for real.
exactly. Yeah. That's why I said, and I would definitely leave it alone because you know your son, he now he can continue on his life. It may be a little harder, but he can go about his business now instead of trying to fight a case at 14.
She's dragging them through it. She's dragging them on and on and on. He's going to have to talk about it more now. He's gonna probably have to go in court and talk about it with here. He might be on TV having to talk about
Right,
it.
a
He be doing
minor.
interviews talking about it. It's just more. It's just keeping the wound open. It's not letting it heal.
Right, exactly.
You ain't telling
that's
the
her
woman to go
listening
be
to social
careful.
media.
Yeah.
The piggyback off what you're saying, that's her listening to social media and not understanding the law. Like, wait a minute, they can
That's
charge you. You know what I'm saying? He's not, you know what I'm saying, with carrying that gun or telling him to go get the gun.
Carrying a
I know
weapon,
all
all
the
that.
facts, but
Yeah,
yeah,
they could have got them for that. They definitely could have got them for that.
that's what I thought too. I'm
yeah.
like, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I know
it's
it
a
was
few
self
felonies in there
defense
that they got by with because of the matter, the
because how
situation.
the other guy was. Yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate both of you guys for coming on. Ken, my
Oh yeah,
honorary
appreciate
co-host.
you for having me.
Yeah, and Tony, I'm gonna reach out to you. We'll talk so we can I can have you on one of the next episodes where we're gonna discuss our our sons being our king, or what I'm saying, how women a lot of times make their sons their husbands, their man when
Mhm.
they are single. That's definitely something that needs to be
Mhm.
talked about, and more people need to be aware that it's wrong, you know. So, but I'll get with you once I know next week I'm going to be talking about this baby mom who, she, well, I seen a clip of her, right? She was telling a guy like you don't need, he was trying to come to the baby's graduation and she was hollering and screaming. I'm gonna play it for y'all and like, oh no, get away from here. You can't come to my baby graduation. Y'all got a PPO on you or whatever. Don't be near me. He like, I'm not trying to be near you. I just want to see my baby graduate. It was just so sad. I felt so bad for the poor guy because I'm like, come on, it's a graduation. Like, but we're gonna discuss that more next week. Okay, so I just want to give y'all a tad bit of what's to expect this week. All right, y'all. So,
Uh,
all right. Thank you so much for joining, y'all.
All right.
All right. Okay, y'all. So, everybody who's on here, I appreciate you guys for being present on the podcast today. So, if you want to share, I would appreciate if you shared this live. There was a lot of good information shared on this topic, and we just need to get the word out that listen, let's hold both people accountable. Let's not just hold one. And I get the situation. I agree that the 14-year-old was in the right, but let's look at the other situation. Let's prevent this from happening because we don't want to see anybody lives taken, whether they're in the right or the wrong. So that's my spill today on Heart of the Matter. So I will check you guys out next week at Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Be sure to be here. All right. Good night, guys.